Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Christy and I am the owner of Sugar and Spice Glitter Co. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I created this cup right here. I actually started this cup a few months ago. I never got around to finishing it, so I'm so excited that I was finally able to finish editing this video for you guys so I could put it up and yeah, share this video, share this cup with you guys. I love how it turned out. I think it turned out really cool, really stunning, and it's perfect for the holiday season. So I learned a lot along the way creating this cup. So if you're excited to see how I created this cup right here, let's jump into today's video.
For today's video, we're going to be working with this beautiful adhesive vinyl from the Vinyl Cottage. I purchased this last year. I'm so excited to finally be able to use it. I have a few more of these sheets of vinyl, so I'm really excited to create a collection, or at least I'm hoping to be able to create a collection. Anyways, what you're going to want to do when you're doing a full vinyl wrap like this one is peel back the backing sheet and fold just about 2 inches or so. This is going to give you a little lip so that you can adhere it to the cup and be able to apply it nice and evenly. So I am actually taking this sheet and I am just sticking on 1 inch at a time, lining it up on my tumbler to make sure that everything looks good. I do want to mention, if you see that white line, the border of this adhesive vinyl, I should have cut that off before. I'm not really happy that I left it on, because when I wrapped this cup and I cut the seam, which you will see later on, you will actually be able to see that white line. So I kind of missed a step. I don't want you guys to miss a step. But before you apply this adhesive vinyl, make sure to cut any border lines that are on your vinyl sheet before applying it to your cup, so you don't have the same issues I did. Now, some people are very great at applying adhesive vinyl sheets like this one with their fingers. I just am not. I have a better time using my squeegee. So while I'm using this tumbler holder to squeegee on my adhesive vinyl, I'm kind of like twisting the cup along the holder so that it's easier for me to smooth out the adhesive vinyl. This vinyl is super easy to work with. As you can see, if there's any areas where there's bubbles or little wrinkles, it's very easy to just peel that back up and smooth it back down with my squeegee. So this vinyl is very forgiving. I really didn't have issues at all, making it work. So once I've applied the adhesive vinyl wrap, I'm going to cut my seam. Now this is where I made the mistake and I cut the seam a little bit too short. And once I lift up this vinyl, you're going to see that there's that border line that's going to be exposed. Again, not really happy with that, but it was something that I learned along the way, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys so that you can, learn too. So make sure you're removing those border lines so you don't have any exposed lines like I did. I do end up kind of hiding it along the way within this video. So I will show you guys how I did that. But I'm gonna just use my sharp X-Acto knife to lift up the remainder of that vinyl sheet, just to make sure that at least my line is straight. Again, that line was exposed, which I'm not happy about. So make sure that you cut off that line first. Once I've removed that, we're going to go ahead and start working with the top and bottom of our cup. I'm going to just kind of fold the bottom down here. When it comes to the top, I'm going to heat it up with a heat gun, just to make that vinyl a little bit softer and a little bit easier to cut. So here you can see I went and grabbed my little heat gun here which makes the vinyl really easy to work, really soft, really flexible, so that I can just take my little X-Acto knife and just trim off the excess on the top of my cup. So once that's done, you can just take the excess that you've cut off, toss it to the side, throw it away. I'm gonna take my heat gun and we're just gonna blast the bottom of the cup now just to smooth out those wrinkles. Again, hitting it with the heat gun makes this vinyl really nice and stretchable, flexible, so you can just hit it with the heat gun, kind of smooth out that bottom with your fingers, and it'll make the bottom really nice and smooth. But we're gonna go ahead and tape off our bottom anyways, and we are gonna be adding glitter. But right before we do that, I'm gonna just inspect the cups to see if there's any air bubbles anywhere. If there are, I'm just gonna poke a small little hole into them using this weeding pen that I have from my craft source. It's really handy, especially when you have little air bubbles, because it's a little pin at the end of this little pen. So it really helps just popping little holes, and then you can just smooth it out using your squeegee. And once we apply our glitter and resin, you're not going to even notice I poked a hole anywhere. So if you have issues with air bubbles, definitely keep in mind that you can kind of just poke a tiny little hole, smooth it out with your squeegee, and it's gone. Now I'm just going to take some painter's tape. I'm going to tape off the bottom of my cup, leaving a little bit of exposed vinyl just so that we can cover that using our glitter. If you wanted to take a edge cutting tool and cut off your vinyl that way, you definitely can. But I decided to just put some tape along the bottom. We're going to grab some Mod Podge. We're going to spread that on, and then we're just going to use put some glitter up on there. So yeah, I'm just gonna squirt just a little bit of Mod Podge there at the bottom using a paintbrush, just spread that out. Of course, making a mess in Chrissy fashion, because I'm a messy crafter, but yeah, so we're going to just spread that Mod Podge along the bottom side of our cup. We're going to be grabbing a Mother of Pearl, which is a beautiful pearlescent, fine, kind of chunky mixed glitter. And we're gonna just put that at the bottom of the cup. And yeah, I really love how this glitter looks, especially on this cup. I think it really adds like a snowy effect. I think it looks really pretty. Once we've got that all down, we can just go ahead and immediately pull up our painter's tape. So now that we've removed our painter's tape at the bottom, we have a nice even line. I love just the glitter butt of this cup, so cute. But anyways, I decided to continue on with the Mod Podge. You guys know that I don't really use Mod Podge that often, but for this cup, I decided to just be easier to just go ahead and apply Mod Podge for a ombre effect on the top of this cup. So when I originally had the design or the idea for this cup, I knew I wanted to do a glitter accent at the top of this cup. So normally I would do an ombre or glitter using resin, but because I already had the Mod Podge out, I thought it'd be perfect just to paint on some Mod Podge to the top of this cup. Show you guys a really easy way to just be able to apply glitter without having to mix up resin every single time. So I spread on that Mod Podge, and I'm kind of just letting this glitter fall down the cup. Now the glitter that I'm using on this cup right here is a mix that I put together using our chunky Glamour, cotton candy, and wedding bells. So it's a combination of all three glitters that I put in this little medicine cup to create this color right here. So I just continued to apply the glitter, letting the glitter cascade and fall down the cup until I'm happy with the amount of glitter that's on the cup. I didn't want the glitter to fall all the way down to the bottom or cover any of the characters that are on the vinyl, so I really wanted to keep that glitter to the top portion of the cup. So now that that is done, we let it dry, and we're going to go ahead and apply 2 coats of resin, fast set resin, all over this cup. I was not able to record that part, unfortunately, but we're gonna skip over to the next part after the resin is cured. And you've seen me do this 100 million times, applying resin, so if you haven't, you can always check out my other videos. But yeah, in this part of the video right here, I am going to just take my sanding block. We're going to smooth out all those little rough edges that we may have for that glitter, making sure not to over sand the glitter because you don't want to damage any of the glitter that may be under there. We're just trying to smooth it out. So we're going to be taking our sanding block. This is a 220 sanding block grit. And once I'm happy with how the bottom feels nice and smooth, I'm going to do the same thing to the top of the cup. And then I'm also going to just very, very lightly sand the entire base of my cup as well. We are going to be applying a vinyl design, a little quote on here in a little bit, but I just wanted to make sure that the base is nice and smooth so that when we apply our final layer of resin, we don't have any issues with the edges being pokey or anything like that. We're done sanding. We're just going to wash off our cup with soap and water. You can also spritz it with 91% alcohol. Then we're going to move on to the next step, which is cutting out our vinyl decal. Once I've applied the quote and the image that I wanted into Cricut Design Space, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out using my Cricut Maker 3. As you can see, I originally had the vinyl designs in 2 different colors. And the design that I'm using here on this cup, I actually purchased on Etsy. So I'm not gonna lie, I actually wanted to apply this image in an area that will mostly cover up that white border. As you know, we added the glitter, which covered up a lot of that white border. So I wanted to make sure that wherever I placed this vinyl design would cover, I guess, most of what was exposed. Also, I really have been enjoying applying my vinyl designs to the bottom of my cups. If you guys saw my last video, which launched on Halloween, which was also a really fun cup, I kind of applied the design in a similar fashion, which was on the bottom of the cup. All right, so now I'm going to show you guys how to do a really easy weeding trick here. We're doing something called a reverse weed, where you apply the transfer sheet on top of the entire design that you have cut out. Because this image I have here had so many little tiny vinyl pieces, snowflakes, hearts, dots, didn't want to lose anything. So this weeding this way really helps to keep the design intact without having to fuss with all those little tiny pieces. So if you've never done it this way before, definitely look into doing weeding this way, because it makes life so much easier. Just look at all those little pieces that probably would have given me a hard time should I have tried to weed this design in a different way, in the original way. So once I have that all cleaned up, weeded out, we're just gonna go and apply that right on top of the offset that we applied onto our cup first. I'm gonna just use my squeegee just to make sure that that is on there really good, and then just remove the transfer sheet. So once we've applied all of our vinyl and the decals and all that good stuff, we're going to go ahead and seal this in. I've had issues in the past with my opal vinyl and all these vinyl designs with these little accent cutouts and all that stuff lifting up on me after I've applied the resin. Ever since I started using this quick coat from Cottage DIY, it's been an absolute game changer, lifesaver, and time saver, honestly, because it just prevents any issues with your vinyl after applying your resin. So after we've spread that quick coat all over the cup, making sure to focus on the vinyl design, we're going to go ahead and let that dry about 20 to 30 minutes. Then we're going to whip up some artist resin by Counterculture DIY, and I'm going to put a pretty generous amount of resin because I want this to be my final layer of resin, which it was. I want to make sure that we get really full coverage over that vinyl design, and that we don't have to fuss with this cup after it has cured. We did our sanding beforehand, we sealed in our vinyl. We're going in with a really good coat of resin, and that was it. Once it was cured, I didn't have to do anything else, and it was great. But if you have any issues where your vinyl wasn't sealed in completely with this coat of resin, you can go in with a second coat just to finish everything off. Once we applied the resin, we're just going to torch it really quick to get rid of any bubbles that may be coming to the surface and let it cure. And this is what the cup looks like now that it's fully cured. I took it outside to show you guys what it looked like in regular lighting outside, and here is what the cup looks like under studio lighting. And I just love how this cup turned out. I think it turned out really cute. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the cup in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and if you're new here, definitely consider subscribing. It helps me out so much. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.